What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Reacting to What Do You Get Paid for a Billion Streams by Rick Beato. So what's going on, everybody? Today, once again, yes, I'm doing another one of Rick Beato's videos. Well, extremely relevant to everything that I cover here in this channel, the music industry, guitar players, and musicians in general. Very, very relevant. So today, I'm reacting to What Do You Get Paid for a Billion Streams by Rick Beato. As always, if you're not already subscribed, please go and subscribe to Rick Beato. Again, if you're subscribed to me, chances are you're already subscribed to Rick. And also, give a like to the original video. I put the original video in the description. And on my video, this video, leave a comment on what you'd like to see me react to next. So, let's get into it.
Okay, so I woke up today and I was thinking, how much do a billion streams on Spotify pay? Or how much do a billion streams just in general pay if you add up Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Tidal? How much do a billion streams pay?
Really have no idea.
So then I start looking this stuff up. Now, I know people in the music business. So one of the first people I reached out to is the head of a huge company that would know this. And he said it pays about $1 million.
Okay.
So if you have 4 writers, that's divided by 4. So each person gets $250,000. That's between the writer's share and the publisher's share. So that $1 million is split down the middle. So $500,000 goes to the 4 writers, split 4 ways, and then the other $500,000 goes to the publishers, which if they have a co-pub deal, then they may be splitting that 50-50. This gets really kind of convoluted, right?
It usually always does with any sort of royalty-based, performance-based thing. This happens in the movie industry as well too, with, various writers for within Hollywood and all that sort of stuff. It depends on the deal that was given and whatever sort of deal the musician and or writer has accepted. But I actually wasn't actually sure about that exactly. The one metric that I know for sure, being myself a songwriter, a musician that is completely independent, and I have music up on all the major streaming platforms. For example, on Spotify, I make a quarter of a penny per stream. You listen to a full song of mine, that's a quarter penny. You listen to it 4 times or you listen to 4 songs, I get a penny. Now, due to the fact that I am an independent solo artist, I write, I record, I perform, I release completely independently. That quarter of that penny is 100% mine. Mine all day. But much like Rick is saying here, if there's, up to 4 songwriters, that's split 4 ways. After 50% of it gets it cut to the publishers, record companies. Like he was saying, it is very convoluted and usually is with any royalty performance sort of based industry.
But let's just say that everybody owns their own publishing and maybe they have a administration deal which pays 10%. So, well, just for sake of ease, everybody gets $250,000. Well, then if I start to look up things on there and you say, how much does a billion streams on Spotify pay? It'll say between $3,000 and $5,000 per million. Well, let's just average that out to $4,000 per million. Let's take a song like Greedy, the Tate McRae song, because that's one of the top songs on the charts. And I was looking at that today. That has 887 million plays. Times
Just short of $1 billion.
$4,000, that's $3.5 million. Or $875,000 per writer. So that's a lot more money than $1 million split 4 ways, right? So instead of getting $250,000 per person, you're getting $875,000 per person. I don't know. That seems like about the right amount of money. I'm not sure. And I've asked a bunch of people in the music business that are high up that I made phone calls to. They're friends of mine. And
so, in other words, it's even more convoluted than we really thought. The numbers will vary from place to place, apparently, depending on the artist, obviously. I just told you what my personal metrics are from what I get off of Spotify. Keep in mind, I'm a complete and total unsigned independent artist with no real success or hits or backing or anything like that to speak of. Obviously, maybe the metrics change considerably depending on your geographical location, depending on what kind of backing you are. I'm not that clear on it as well either. That's part of the reason I really wanted to watch this video, to get a better understanding myself and to do it along with all of you. But yeah, it seems like the numbers are convoluted depending on the streaming service, depending on a lot of different circumstances. So in other words, there's enough of a gray area for them to screw us as much as possible. Perhaps that's usually what the music industry does to musicians and artists.
they all gave me different answers. They all couldn't actually say how much a billion streams pays. So I'm relying on stuff in the internet. And one of my friends said, well, don't believe anything you read on the internet. But some of these things are actually researched by people. Then one of my friends says, well, there's also this thing called the MCL, the Mechanical Licensing Collective. This is from the Music Modernization Act that happened in 2018. It pays songwriters, composers, lyricists, and music publishers. According to the things that I've been able to find, pays about $1,000 per million plays. And just as an example, YouTube pays about $5,000 per million plays of a music video. So that song Greedy has 92 million. So that equals $460,000 split 4 ways with the 4 writers. It's really amazing that you cannot figure out how much this stuff makes. Well, I had a song that was a #1 song back in 2013. I've talked about it on this channel before. It sold 1 million iTunes downloads. So 1 million downloads paid $1 million. We divided it between 5 people, so it was that would be $200,000 a piece, of which I saw none of that money. I don't know why. I didn't. That was the mechanical royalties. That was I didn't get any of that money, but I did get radio airplay money, and the radio airplay equaled about $1 million. So I made $200,000 on that. I think that those mechanical royalties, I'm not sure how that got paid out, to be honest with you. I could only account for $200,000. And
so you see, even with a heavy hitter like Rick, don't forget everybody, for those of you that don't really know that much about Rick Beato. Rick Beato was in a band that had a record deal, that had a hit, that had some international success. But he's also produced and co-written with a lot of major record label artists. Like he's done some writing with, I believe, Shinedown and all that. He's a heavy hitter in the industry. He's not like what a lot of other people like to call a lot of YouTubers, like bedroom musicians and all that, and just, oh, the YouTube musician. No, he's a veteran musician, become producer, become, major collaborator and producer with major FM radio play, hard rock bands in the industry. He's been involved in the industry on a huge level. And even he is having a hard time figuring this out with his contacts and his knowledge of how convoluted the music industry is now that it's in streaming. And every service has different deals, and everybody's going to tell you something different, and another little hidden fee or a little promotion, or this person has to get paid over here and there. It seems like now that it's gone digital, if it was possible, the business side of the music business has become even more corrupt and slimy. Ugh.
And that was over time. And everyone says that streaming you make less money on. So let's say that it's not $3.5 million for 1 billion streams, probably $1 million for the writer's share and $1 million for the publisher's share. So that's $2 million. Of that, you split it 4 ways if there are 4 writers on it. But here's the thing. How many songs have I talked about when I go down this top 10 Spotify playlist have 5 writers, 7 writers, 10 writers, 13 writers I've seen? These are incredibly small amounts. Now, not everything is split equally unless you're in Nashville. You have this saying, write a word, get a third. In Nashville, they always split everything. If you contributed one melody note, one lyric, hey, why don't you change it to this line to this? You got a third of the song if there were 3 people, or a fourth of the song if there were 4 people. I'm getting texts from people actually.
You see, always wondered how a lot of people break that down. You hear a lot of bands, like, for example, Van Halen and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I believe U2 as well. You know, there's usually always primarily 1 or 2 songwriters, but to be cool and to have a community spirit about it all, they always split the publishing and the songwriting credits equally among the band members. But, you know, I was just about to say when he said, oh yeah, some of them got 13 songwriters. Like, how do you have 13 songwriters on a song? I know how hard it is to work creatively with 2 to 4 different people in one band on a song, and to, you know, have something come out as a creative vision without having too many people ruin the vision of the original songwriter, not necessarily ruin it, but get it too convoluted and, you know, have everybody happy with everything. How do you do that with 13? But really, write a word, get a third. I have never heard that before. So you do the slightest little melody change or the slightest little arrangement change, and you get a songwriting credit. If that's the case, there's a lot of sessions that I did that I need a third of the songwriting credit on. Because when I would go into the place, almost always as a bass player, for recording somebody else's music, I would pretty much, you know, have them tell me, do you have any ideas of the parts that you want? No, you just want a certain vibe. And I would come up with my own bass line, sometimes offer a little bit of input into the arrangement, but I would never take any songwriting credit as that. I just looked at it as, well, you know, I'm just the bass player that got asked to do a recording in there. But I guess not. Guess it all depends on the situation. But in Nashville, write a word, get a third, apparently. First time I have ever heard that.
About this stuff, as I'm doing this, it's very funny that people that I ask this question to are writing back, and they're actually disagreeing with each other. And these are people that work for publishers, for record labels, things like that. And they don't even know exactly what this is. When I get my royalty statements nowadays for things, now the song that I wrote back then brings in almost no money, probably
out of circulation,
$1,500 twice a year, maybe through BMI, something like that.
Something.
If that much. So $3,000 a year. And when I look at my royalty statement, it has things like YouTube. It'll have, if it's radio airplay, it'll have streaming on Spotify. It'll have Apple Music. It'll have Tidal. Basically all the different services, Pandora, all the places where you get paid for music. One of my buddies told me this mechanical licensing collective has 400 million unclaimed dollars in it.
Wow.
Now, I did this interview
shy of $500 million
with a guy, Nicholas Melinder, and then I did an interview with Bjorn Ulvaeus from ABBA. And we talked about this money because they have an app with Max Martin that's trying to collect from these places because they have this money, the labels have collected this money and they don't know where to pay it. I think they eventually just distribute it out amongst their biggest artists.
What? They've got money to pay out. They don't know where it needs to go. And they just pay it out to their biggest artists? Wow. Things out there are worse than I thought. I knew that there was a certain amount of corruption. I always kind of wondered, even with my background being in IT, knowing that, how can we properly regulate this? If done properly, we can properly monitor it. But who's monitoring the people that are monitoring it? And they're saying, "Oh no, we don't know where this is supposed to go. We lost the data on which artists need to be paid." That come on. Come on. It's easy to look up logs and stuff, but it is even worse out there than I thought by a long shot.
Somebody knows how much a billion streams pays. And I'd like to be able to tell you guys, I think
Wow.
that it's probably way less money than what I'm even saying here, if I had to guess. Love to know your thoughts. Leave a comment, hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching.
Wow. Like I just said a couple seconds ago, it's far worse than I thought. I just can't believe that. I had an idea that it was very convoluted and almost downright corrupt, but like I say, if Rick Beato can't figure this out, how are any of us going to be able to figure this out? All right, so once again, everybody, if you're not already subscribed to Rick Beato, go and give Rick Beato a sub. Go to the link in my description to the original video, give it a like, and on this video, my video, leave a comment on a video that you'd like to see me react to next. Thanks for checking out this video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, click the notification bell, like, comment, and share. It doesn't cost a thing and would really help out the channel. Also, please subscribe to my other channel, GK Mac Music, for some live looping live streams with a side of jackassery, some original music, and some short content, also with a side of jackassery. If you'd like to help out the channel financially, you can buy some merch at the merch store, or you can become a channel member. As always, everyone, thanks so much for your continued support. Do what makes you happy.